Another day, another possibly useless invention, if you could even call it that. But okay, let's explain the story of this. One day I was walking around Walmart, and that would be a pretty cool idea. Hey, what if I get a thermometer and a clock, and I put them together and I made a little watch out of it and made it powered by USB through a voltage divider of a bunch of resistors inside of a plastic case on a steel body with foam on the back and the front, hot glued everything together, and also got a USB power pack thing which I could plug the USB thing into, and then the thing would turn on, except when it would turn on it would lose all of its memory, and maybe I should have put capacitors in there, except I didn't, and I would have to add something like that later. So this is the thing that I made. It's basically an automotive clock, which the clock itself comes with Velcro, which is very hard to remove, but the Velcro just comes on in there, and it gives you an opportunity to see the little back. Okay, so there was a button cell here, and what I did is I actually took it out and soldered on some wires in there, and this was powered by 1.5 volts, as well as this right here was powered by 3 volts. Yeah, it says DC 3 volts at the back. And I did the same thing here. So what I did is I ran out the wires, and as I mentioned in my very quick rant before, it goes through some resistors. I don't really know the exact, there's a mathematic way to calculate voltage dividers, but just know that when you put two resistors together you can manipulate the voltage and divide it by 2 if the resistors are equal, and proportionally to the resistor's resistance using different ones. You're never really supposed to power anything with a voltage divider, but with LED stuff you can get away with it, even though you still really shouldn't power something with a voltage divider. And even though I get away with it, you still really shouldn't power something with a voltage divider. Don't power something with a voltage divider, except that I'm going to power something with a voltage divider. So why don't you stop making the comments of don't power something with a voltage divider and don't power something with a linear voltage regulator. You have to use a buck converter, a linear regulator, but this is what I chose, so that's what I'm going to use. As far as this goes, I have it powered by USB. It does plug into this little power jump pack, and it has it here. I don't really know about this because this draws so little power, I think at least, that this thing turns itself off because it doesn't really think that it's being used or something. I don't know. This is just a temporary thing. How I want to do is I actually want to have this project so I could power this clock thing by my own body heat. So it's like an infinite power source, kind of. If you're curious how it would mount, it would mount like this on the wrist. So it's a pretty cool thing. And, well, it would be, except the power turned off again. But I would make little straps and it would go across the wrist, and you could get your temperature, your time, and maybe on the upper arm there would be some Peltier units. You would need a lot of them probably to generate the power. Also some capacitors as well as a battery, so the power is filtered as well as stored, especially to keep the memory of the clock. The thermometer isn't as much of a concern. So that's really the main reason why I didn't just use the button cells and have these just stick to there, which would have been much easier. That's the experiment which I wanted to do. There will be a follow-up on this whenever I get the rest of the parts and do that, which could be sometime. It could not be anytime if I find out a better way to do this, or just forget about it. So to ensure that I don't forget about it, I'm going to put it right here. And if you see this in a future video, which I released earlier, then you'll know that's why. And if you haven't been reading the end titles to some of these videos, which some of them have and some of them don't have, then you'll know that this video was made before some of the other ones. If I'm speaking strangely in this video, well then it's for comedic purposes only. Have a nice day.